Now, today's lesson 11.2 is about surface areas of prisms and cylinders. This is different. They're not, today's lesson is about cylinders. It's not just prisms. So students will be able to find the surface area of a cylinder today. Okay. Now, a cylinder is a solid that has, let me just freeze this. A cylinder is a solid that has two congruent parallel bases that are circles. And if you notice, this is my base, 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 this is a base, that's a base. So remember, the height is the distance between the two bases. And in my obliques, it's okay that it's, slanted in that. We won't have you find the surface area of an oblique cylinder, but we will have you find the surface area of a right cylinder where there's a right angle between the sides and the base. Now, the circles are the bases. An altitude of a cylinder is a perpendicular segment that joins the planes of the bases. So this is my altitude. My altitude's a perpendicular segment, or the distance between my bases. But remember, altitude is the perpendicular distance from one base to another, or a plane that contains the base to the other base. Okay, so that's my perpendicular distance. That's the height of my cylinder, is the length of the altitude. Now, in a right cylinder, the segment joining the centers of the bases is an altitude. In an oblique cylinder, the segment joining the centers is not perpendicular to the base, the planes containing the bases. So if I put this over on the center, it's not perpendicular to the plane that contains the bases, nor is this one if I consider that, and that's what they're talking about. In this book, we'll always assume the cylinder is a right cylinder unless we tell you otherwise. So the area of the curved surface of a cylinder is the lateral surface area. Think soup can label. So if I take and unroll it, it's just going to be a rectangle that's circumference, remember that circumference, 2 pi r times height. Okay, so that's the lateral surface area. And then the surface area is the sum of the bases. And remember, the base, which equals A, is r squared pi r squared, or r squared pi. I don't know why I wrote it r squared pi, but pi r squared, because we're talking about circles. Base is a circle. I should say base is a circle. So in the circumference is what we're working at too. So if we're looking at this, keep in mind, if I unwrap this, that becomes 2 pi r. And then my base is pi r squared. So that's what we're looking at when we're working with a cylinder. So if I look at my lateral and surface area formulas, I still have LA, but now my perimeter of LA, my perimeter, which is C, is 2 pi r and times H. So LA can be pi times diameter times height, or 2 pi r times height. So that is the lateral surface area, my rectangle, after I unroll it. My surface area is my rectangle area plus my area of my two bases. So when I do surface area, this is first for cylinder. Surface area is for cylinder, and this is lateral area for cylinder. Remember, this is cylinder and cylinder alone. Do not use these formulas for anything else, because they won't work for anything else other than the cylinder. So what's the surface area of each cylinder? Remember, we just found the surface area is 2 pi r times h plus 2 times pi r squared, because there are two bases. That's the formula I'm using. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. When you do this, use the formula both times, write it down. Okay? But this is how we get it done. This is r, this is h. And after I identify those things and I have the right formula, surface area of a cylinder, I just go ahead and plug stuff in. I got 2 pi, r was 3, h was 5, plus 2 pi r is 3 squared. So that's this 30 pi on the left, and this is plus 18 pi. And I'm doing it in terms of pi because I'm calculator free, 48 pi. But I grab my calculator now. and I got 48 times pi, and I got 150.796, so it's going to be 150.8 centimeters squared for my surface area. Now, I just did one. It's your turn. You guys go after the next one with the height of 12 and the diameter of 10. Remember, that's a diameter. It's not a radius. What's the radius? Radius is equal to, find it. Go. Okay, now that you found the surface area of that one, you got to keep in mind the radius is 5 meters. Okay, and then after you do that one move, boom, boom, boom. That's it. Plug things in. We're off to the races. 2 pi times 5 times 12, or I'll put it in the right order. No, I did put it in the right order. 5 times 12 plus 2 times pi, 5 squared. So this is equal to 5 times 12 is 60, times 2 is 120 pi, plus 50 pi, which is 170 pi, and 170 times pi is going to be 534.1. 534.1 meters squared. Okay, so those are my surface areas of those two figures. Now, the radius of the base of a cylinder is 4, and its height is 6. What is the surface area of the cylinder in terms of pi? Now, here's the thing. I don't have a picture here, so I'm going to draw a picture. Okay, radius is 4. R is equal to 4, and that's inches. The height is 6, h is 6. So, hey, guess what? We're just going to do the same thing. Surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r, that's the circumference, perimeter of a cylinder, times h, plus my bases, my two bases, and my bases in a cylinder is pi r squared. So now that we got that, I've got 2 times 4 times 6 plus 2 pi 4 squared. And I got 24 times 2, which is 48 pi, plus 32 pi, and I'm looking at 80 pi. So they wanted in terms of pi, and that's what I've got. I got 80 pi inches squared. All right. Now, it is your turn. You guys go ahead, get her done. Okay, by the way, you're supposed to turn me off. Turn it off, get it done. It's your turn to do this on your own. Okay, welcome back. Draw your picture. Okay, you have a height that's 9. 9 is equal to h. Radius that's 10. Radius is 10. They're both centimeters. Okay, what is the surface area of the cylinder in terms of pi? Well, surface area, 2 pi r circumference, which is perimeter, times h, plus 2 pi r squared. That's the area of my base. So that's my formula straight up for cylinder. And now I just plug everything in. Excuse me. I'm going to put them in the right spots. 10, 9, 2 pi, 10 squared. So over here I've got 200 pi. And here I've got 90 times 2, which is 180 pi. And this is going to be 380 pi centimeters squared when I'm done. So those are pretty slick. Okay, just one formula, get the roll on with it. So in interior design, you are using the cylindrical stencil roller below to paint patterns on your floor. What area does the roller cover in one full turn? Well, this is all about surface area that does not contain the ends. So I will take those out. I will not use those. So really I'm talking about my LA. Okay, I'm just talking about the stuff that wraps around. So one roll, okay, my lateral area, the area without bases, is going to be 2 pi r h. So my h is 6, my radius, wait, let's double check this. They got 2.5 for my diameter, so that's equals diameter. So remember, this can become diameter pi h because 2 times r is equal to d. So in this case, my diameter is 2.5 pi times 6. Now, do you want it in terms of anything else? Nope. So we got 2.5 times pi times 6, and that's going to give me a 47.12 inches squared. Okay, what area does the roller cover in one full turn? Is area painted in one turn. Okay, now let's get on to our next one. Oh, today's summary. Objective, students will be able to find the surface area of a prism and a cylinder. Write a couple sentences about something that you learned about today, thinking about the learning objective. Then rate yourself on a 0 to 4 scale. Hey folks, thanks for your time. Remember, if you're going to improve things, you've got to be the first initial start. You have to do your homework. You have to make sure that you're concerned about the correct answers by asking questions. And then you start taking off, okay? Have a great day.